Gerald Huggins joins as we break down our second pivotal matchup of the week, a CIAA showdown between Virginia Union and Bowie State for the top dog in the division. Oh yeah, it's Locked On HBCU. Play my music.
You are Locked On HBCU, your daily podcast covering HBCU sports. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's going on, family? Welcome back to another episode of the Locked On HBCU podcast, your number one daily one-stop shop for everything HBCU athletics, Monday through Friday, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. And I, of course, am Darian Gray, a.k.a. the Mouth of the South, Texas Southern alum and former TSU Herald Sports editor. Thank you for going on this journey with me, making Locked On HBCU your first listen of the day every day. And remember, just because the mic cuts off does not mean that the journey is over. It means that it's time to look down here at South Exclusives and follow me on Twitter. And today's episode is brought to you by BetOnline. BetOnline has you covered this season with more odds, props, and lines than ever before. BetOnline, where the game starts. Now, depending on how new you are to the show, how new you are to the family, you may or may not be this young gentleman right here to my left or right, however it comes out in post-production. But for those who don't know, this the main man. This is Trench Talk himself. This is Coach Huggins. Gerald is on the show with us again. And though we've had him on to talk about prospects, we are now going to have him on the show to talk about his alma mater, Virginia Union. All right. And there's no way that we can start a conversation about Virginia Union, specifically with this game against Bowie State, and not talk about Jada Byers. Now, I have a couple of statements. And if you agree with them, you don't have to say anything. But I want you to stop when you feel like I've taken it too far. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Jada Byers is the best running back in the CIAA. Okay? Jada Byers is the best running back in all of HBCU football. Okay? Jada Byers should be the leader for the Black College Football Player of the Year. Now, you know that's hot. Now, that's the end of my list. You know that's hot to say that he should be the leader for Black College Football Player of the Year over Shedeur Sanders.
Mm-hmm.
As long as you know that we can keep it there. So when we talk about these things and we give him the praise of that because Shedeur is having a phenomenal season, that is in no way to take away from Shedeur. Honestly, putting him on the same level as Shedeur's season is only a praise to Byers. What makes him so special to you? Because I've seen a couple of clips and he looks good. Good burst. Good strength. That patient run you sent me, work of art. But what is it to you that stands out about Byers?
Everybody knows what Union's going to do, and they can't stop it. They're not running anything difficult. It's power. Right. It's dive. It's stretch. It's not taking anything from Union's offensive coordinator. He's scheming them up perfectly. And that offensive line coach at Union, shout out to you. Because Union, people think Union has this big old imposing offensive. No. Their center might be 250 pounds. Their guard may be 275, 280. They have a big left tackle that's like a West Virginia. He went to Temple. I think he's a Temple alum. I forgot his name. They have a right tackle that's from LIU. I think he's a JUCO transfer. So they're not big guys. I mean, the left tackle's a big guy, but they're not the biggest guy. But they just scheme everything so phenomenally. And then if the thing about Jada, if the hole's not there, he creates something. I mean, you rarely see him get stopped in the backfield. Let's go back to last year. He rarely gets stopped in the backfield. He's gonna find a way. Like we teach, on defense. If you close the gaps down, you make them bounce out to the linebackers. The linebackers gotta make plays. The defensive line coach, that's what I say. Squeeze them down, and when they squeeze it down, they cut off the inside. They're gonna want to bounce, and then you make your play. They can't do it.
Yeah. And you mentioned this, right? So you're talking about all these things and you're saying they can't do it. To me, the key to victory for Bowie State is to stop Jada Byers. That's the first thing you have to do. That's my key to victory for Bowie State. Mm-hmm. But how do you do it? How would you do it if you're a coach?
I'll run bare.
I probably all the big uglies up front. You're gonna do something else.
Anybody on my coaching staff that know I coach at Canarsie High School in Brooklyn, that is my favorite defensive run. If you can run on there, kudos to you. But the thing is, they're spreading people out and doing it. But then when they come in their heavy package, it's just they got a fullback at number 44. He's mauling people. Then your quarterback has an option. He could run. It's the tight ends are big. The offensive line is good size. They're not a huge guy. They're just imposing. They're nasty. Like if you watch the tape, and you watch the Valdosta tape, when they put up like 45 points on Valdosta, they were just beating Valdosta's defensive line up. Like when you watch, the best competition they had so far was, I'll say, Valdosta and Fayetteville. Now Fayetteville State, outside of Virginia Union, has the best defensive line, best defense in the CIAA. Okay. They put 28 on them. So granted, Fayetteville, they were scoring a lot too. So listen, that was a good game. That's what I hope the CIAA championship is going to be, because they need to run that back. That game was a beautiful game. Virginia Union found a way to win it late. But the thing about it, once again, there's so many options with Jada. Like, God forbid they really start throwing this man the ball. Oh my God! Like if they really started throwing him the ball, like swing passes, option route, man, it's only gonna get scarier. Right now, this man is just playing. But this is Union football. The Union football is, we have linemen that's gonna punch you in the face, and they're gonna keep punching you in the face, and we have a running back that's gonna come with the knockout. And he's like, we had a guy that went to the Canadian League. I forgot his name. Oh my God, he transferred from UCF. Then we had Tobias Taylor before that. We had
what y'all do.
We run the ball. But I want people to understand, don't sleep, because Union, they can throw too. They just don't need to throw. But when he has to, because what people don't know, the quarterback leads the CIAA in passing touchdown. Union's quarterback. I think he leads in touchdown. He has two receivers out of duos anyway. The two receivers, Jackson and oh God, I forgot the other young man's name. He's a jump ball guy. Those two are top 10 in receiving touchdowns. And I think they have the most combined out of any wide receiver duo. So they can throw the rock. Do you want to know why they can throw the rock? Because guess what? That play action is there, baby. And then they throw fade ball. They have two. Well, I gotta find this kid's name. I have to find his name, because this kid, I watched him play in person, and I really like what I saw. Let's see, the receiver, John Giles. There we go, John Giles. He's a big guy. He's big, about 6'3", 200 plus. He's a jump ball guy. And then you have Jackson. He's a possession guy. Those two guys right there, they can pass the ball too. Now, we all know Union. Yes, I'm going to talk about Union, but let's not. It's still Bowie State now. And
right. So what's the key? How do you beat Bowie State? What do you have to do?
You have to impose your will on Bowie early, because if you don't, if you keep Bowie around, oh baby, fourth quarter, they turn up as the game goes along. They just they have a grit to them, man. That Damon Wilson is still in them, because Bowie was when I first got to Union, Bowie was just like the scrappy team that if you don't play well, or you sleep, they're gonna beat you. Then they became the big dogs on the block. And then they've been on top for so long. Like I predicted before the season started, they were gonna lose about 2-3 games. They lost a lot, but they still have one of the top stages in D2 football, and boom. And they still have, the big guy, they have a big guy on the line. So they have the formula. They have a pretty good quarterback. They still have a decent running game. The offensive line is big. They have a big offensive line. So the formula is there for them. If they play Bowie football that we've always known, then of course Union's gonna have some trouble. But if Union also just sticks to what they're good at and don't deter, if you don't score on your first 2-3, don't deter from what you're good at. Union, do what you do. And for Bowie, if you want to listen, you're gonna get gassed. And once they run the ball so much at Union, so many different ways, you're gonna get one. You're gonna give up one. But if you hang your head on Jada just going for 60, then he going to run for 50. And he going to run for 60 again. Then he going to run for 10, 5, 2, 1, 100. Like, that's just how it goes. You just never know. So, Bowie.
Yeah, I'm with it.
Yeah, that's all I'm saying. Like, Bowie just needs to just play Bowie ball. And Union just needs to play Union ball.
All right. Yeah, I like it. Well, we're going to get into Bowie. Now we're about to get into Bowie, and we're going to talk about that offense. And we're also going to talk about some of the storylines that are around this game. But first, I want to tell you about BetOnline now from the distant jibber jabber and absolute nonsense that I have to hear from this guy right here on Twitter. I can tell that he is a Carolina Panther fan. Right now, that being said, Carolina Panthers just blessed themselves by getting rid of Matt Rule and going into this game against the Los Angeles Rams. They are now 10-point underdogs. Coach G, are y'all covering the spread? 10 points.
No.
He says no. If you take betting advice from Coach G, and you get it right, cut him a check. If he doesn't, make him pay for the bet, cover it for you. But you can get all of these odds from BetOnline. They have whoever your favorite team is. They have college football. They have basketball because that season's rolling around, and all the sports that you could think of. That's why I consider them the most versatile ones out there, and they want to help you win. Go ahead and get your money in with BetOnline, the fastest and easiest way to wager on all of your favorite sports. BetOnline, where the game starts. As we keep on rolling on today's episode of Locked On HBCU, we're going to be focusing on Bowie State and then also some of the storylines around this game. So let's get into who is your enemy. I'm just here trying to break it down. I don't have any dog in the race, but I do want to talk about Bowie State. DJ Golatt, I hope I pronounced that right. DJ Golatt, he's the leader in yards in the conference. What can he do to exploit this Union defense?
He can stretch the field. And I mean, Union's defensive backs are very aggressive. And I know Union, they have a scheme where their defensive line does a lot of movement. So really it's more about, does he have time? Because Union's defensive line has the most sacks in the CIAA. And I'm not mistaken, I think Bowie State's offensive line, they may give up a good amount of sacks per game.
They're like middle of the pack in the conference.
Yeah, they're about 2.5 a game. Not terrible. That's not terrible. I'm not going to beat them over the head over that. But, for me, I just think that he's been very precise, man. Like, I'm not really the biggest component on completion percentage. But when you have a completion percentage as high as his, you have to give him credit. You have to give him credit. Like, he's getting the ball to his receivers. He's allowing them to create a lot of, he's throwing them open for one. Two, he's giving them position. He's giving them opportunity to get the yards at the catch, and he's not really giving the ball up too much. I believe he has about 4 or 5 minutes.
I think it's 4.
Yeah, so I mean,
I just did this whole thing with Deontay Banu, and he's around 4 or 5. So like they're both around the same area. But I just did Banu from Albany State yesterday, so I could be mistaken. But they're both around a little under an interception a game.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, let's think of it, right? He has over 150 attempts. He has 5 interceptions. He had 10 touchdowns. Okay. Listen, end of the day, he is putting his team in position. He's not the reason they're losing. I'll put it like this.
Okay.
Like, he's not the reason. And like we said, historically, Bowie has had good quarterbacks. Since at least I've been there, the past 10 years, they had a really good run of having good, serviceable quarterbacks that are not going to lose in the game. So, I mean, for him, this is pretty much just give your receivers a chance to get yards at the catch. Now, Union has a very solid tackling defense. I will say that on film, when you watch the game, they don't miss too many tackles, and they like to gang up on you. So as long as he is comfortable in the pocket, which Union's going to make it hard to do, as long as he doesn't get flustered by all the pressure and different blitz schemes that's going to be thrown at him, and as long as he can get the ball deep, because you could get Union deep because their cornerbacks are very aggressive. The DBs are very aggressive.
Okay.
But, it boils down to, are your receivers better athletes than Union's DBs? And that's what you see with, we'll go over the swag a little bit with Jackson. It's not about the DBs aren't in the position. They're just not better athletes than the receivers that they're going against. So a lot of the time it's like, Shador's like, listen, hey, take a shot. And then at the end of the day, I know I have a better athlete than you at receiver than your DB. So of course I would take me a chance or two. So for Bowie, for the quarterback, just try and get your guys positioned to make plays after they catch the rock. That's your best chance of winning. And try and get.
And then when you look at overall, I said there needed to be a sense of urgency for Bowie State after they lost weeks in week 2 and 3. That was 2 back-to-back losses, right? I felt like there needed to be a sense of urgency because I wasn't sure if they could win this conference with 2 losses in the conference, one to Shaw and then one later down the line. They've responded with 3 wins in a row, all in the conference. How have they, I don't want to say reignited a flame or anything, but it does feel like they gained their momentum back after 2 losses. How'd they do that?
Man, I'm not gonna lie. That Virginia State game, I didn't see that. No one saw that coming. I'm not a so nobody can lie. No, not even Bowie State fans can say they saw that 41 points being put up on Virginia State's defense. But like Fields, so I just miss watching Fields in person. Coach Fields, he was one of the best linebackers that I saw on film. They showed the film of him when I got there from the year prior. No, I think we're number 44. He had this really wide stance, neck roll. He was so good at playing football. So I think he ended up going to Alabama A&M. He probably went somewhere in between there. He went to Alabama A&M. He was a linebacker coach. Now he got the DC job at Virginia State. He's done a phenomenal job. So let's give him his kudos. I don't know what happened that game. That was a lot. And then it was a high turnover team. Like they could force a lot of turnovers. I just didn't see. I don't know. Virginia State, I don't know. Maybe we just saw there's levels to this, right? Yeah. Virginia State's still kind of like trying to get their thing back. And Bowie State, yes, they lost a lot of pieces. They lost a whole bunch of pieces. They lost a lot of coaches, they lost a lot of players. But there's a culture that they have there that end of the day, we could say, they lost a lot, so they might just be a tanker, or they might be one of their layover years. No, the culture that Wilson set, that he passed along to the young coach, mind you, their coaching staff can't average more than 35 years old. So that young coaching staff, they're relatable to the kids. The kids love them, and it just seems like they're gonna still fight as hard for them as they're gonna fight for Wilson. And like they've been there before, they've been down before. It's not like people that have been there for a while know that Bowie has had those games where it's like, oh, how are we gonna get back? And they find a way to climb back. Those playoff games that they've been in, they grind it out. They don't quit. There's no quitting those kids. Those kids are from Baltimore. Those kids are from DC. There's no quitting those kids. Those are some tough kids. So for me, they've just been doing what I expected them to do to an extent. But I also did say, like, they're going to lose about 2-3 games this year. So they kind of already lost 2. So, I mean, the third, as a fan.
You're hoping for 3.
As a fan of Union, yes, of course. But as a fan of HBCU football, this is what we want. I know everybody focuses on the SWAC and, sometimes the MEAC. No one really talks about the SEAC, which is I don't like that either because I'm a Clark Atlanta grad. But when it comes to this HBCU football thing, when Bowie and Union play, the HBCU community needs to watch that. That is always a hard-hitting, either it's going to be really low scoring or really high. There's no in between. And this is a hard-hitting, grinded out, man on man, knuckles on knuckles, bloody. It's And I was a part of that 3 times. 3 times. I saw it. I mean, I've lost a game to Bowie where we didn't give up a defensive touchdown. I'll let you figure that out. I mean, we didn't give up a touchdown. I'll let you figure that out. So that's just how it goes. I watched Amir Hall play. Jesus Christ. I was there. So listen, you can never count Bowie out. As much as I say they're gonna lose this many games, end of the day, nothing will shock me with Bowie because they always find a way to stick around. They always find a way to beat up.
And y'all know what it is when we talk about games of the week, and this is still one of our games of the week. We have a 3-pack. We did Albany State versus Benedict yesterday. Now we're on Bowie State versus Virginia Union. We got to have storylines. We got to have matchups, and we got to have keys to victory. We did the key in segment 1. We're about to get to the storyline and the matchup as we wrap up on today's episode of Locked On HBCU. Wrapping up today's episode of Locked On HBCU, Coach G still hanging in with us. So y'all go ahead and enjoy. Clap it up for him at home. Let me hear the love because Coach G is doing his thing. And now we're going to talk about storylines. And this is one big storyline to me that I just want to know. Are these the best teams in the conference, or at least the best teams in the division?
Fayetteville and Union are at the top. Bowie would be number 2. Now, a lot of people pick Shaw to win the South. A lot of people picked them. Now Shaw has that dub against Bowie State. Now we'll see how Shaw looks in the next few weeks. But as of right now, based on what Bowie did the past few games and what they just did to Virginia State, I gotta give them number 3. Number 3 hands down. I mean, Union's clearly number 1.
Right.
Fayetteville, I like Fayetteville. I like Fayetteville a lot. I like because I definitely that defensive line. You know me. You know that's what I love. There is those two defensive lines are so fun to watch. When Union played against Fayetteville, I sat and watched that game. I watched that tape up and down, round and round. Those guys are phenomenal. I want to see that again. I loathe that. That's like
right.
That is just. Oh, it was just beautiful to watch those two defensive lines just go against each other and just do their best to just dismantle the other offensive line. Like it was just fun to watch. Now, granted, Jada had a Jada, but I mean, come on, man. Like that was just what I wanted to see. So for me, Bowie, after what they did to Virginia State, because everybody was saying Virginia State might be number 2 or 3 in the conference. Well, they killed that noise. But any given Saturday, any given Sunday, any given Friday. So or sometimes Thursday if you're unlucky to play on Thursday. So yeah, you just never know. And I'm okay with saying that. I'm okay with saying Fayetteville over Bowie right now. Yeah, I'm very much okay. Yeah, I'll
now
with that.
Looking at this game itself, and you have the key matchup that you're looking for. What is the key matchup in this game?
Ooh, well, you know what I'm gonna say.
I hope you don't, but I think I do.
Listen, if Union's offensive line can't contain Joshua Pryor,
that's in my notes.
It's gonna be a long day. Listen, he hasn't had the year that I've expected out of him, and he's been on everybody's list: Shrine, Senior Bowl, Hula Bowl, CGS Bowl, Pickens Showdown, everybody's list. So.
I knew he was going to do it.
Yeah, he was on Jordan Reed's list. Listen, if they let this be the game that he remembers who he is, it's going to be a long day. It's going to be a long day. It's going to be a really long day. But, I'm always going to say the trenches. The trenches is going to be a focal point. It's a CIAA. This is what we do. We are a line heavy, punch you in the mouth kind of conference. This is what we do. We usually have the best defensive linemen in the country. We usually have some of the top offensive linemen in the country. Historically. Look it up. That's just what we do. So, in saying that, I'm looking right there. I have to. But
I was going to cut you off. Like I wasn't even going to ask you first. Because I had my little spiel ready. Like I was about to get my Josh Pryor love off. I was about to talk about how he could wreck this game. But I was like, you know what? It's the hostly thing to do to ask the guest who he wants to rock with. But it's cool because I brought a secondary thing, so I'm okay.
I love Union, but I love defensive line play just as much. And I'm realistic that Josh Pryor has not had the greatest year, but it only takes one game. Like, and what better game to do it versus the guy that should be winning the Black College Player of the Year award when Jada Byers. If you could. Sonny, if you can hold Jada under 150, you had a good game. And that's just calling the spade a spade. If you can hold Jada under but if Union, for whatever reason, cannot block this guy, either we have not schemed him right or whatever it may be, that would be a record. But Union has a wave of guys coming. Isaac Anderson, who transferred from Shawan, nobody knows of this guy. And he was freshman. He was one of the best freshman players in the country last year. This guy was phenomenal at the 3 technique. He came to Union, and he's doing exactly what he did last year. The guy just had 3.5 tackles for loss last game. I mean, he had 4 tackles and 3.5 of them for loss. That's the kind of guy he is. He's my number 1 overall interior defensive lineman. And, I would say D2, but that's being too biased. So I'll just say in black college football, he's in D2. He is my number 1 interior. And then they have Keith Evans. They have Amani Vernon. It's so many people. It's so many.
Now y'all know. Y'all know it. Y'all know. Y'all hear it. The Union coming out now. That Union
is coming out. Yeah, it's coming out.
Listen, I can't allow you to go. I got to also give my matchup that I'm going to watch out for because I knew he was going to take the interior. And I knew I was like, I'm going to ask him. So I came with something secondary. And I have, even though Keyshawn Hinckley is the number one wide receiver for Bowie State, he's the leader in targets and catches and yards, and he's tied for the lead in touchdowns. I'm going to go with the guy that he's tied with, and that's Morgan Scroggins against whoever that secondary corner is. And the reason I'm doing that is because they will try to stretch the field. He is averaging about 17 yards per completion. So against a stout defense, why not try to see if you can take some shot plays? And those plays will likely come from Scroggins. So that is my personal matchup and one of my keys, just looking at the deep ball of Bowie State. That's one of my matchups to watch in this game. But we have Virginia Union versus Bowie State. This is a phenomenal game. I just got word that it's actually going to be on locally, and I'm at the bottom of the map. So, that was shocking to me. I didn't think they were going to be showing this game way down here, but it's going to be a treat. I cannot wait to watch it. And we're going to be breaking it down, whether it's Monday or if it's Tuesday. In the first 2 days of next week, we will be wrapping up this game right here because I think it's going to be pretty stinking good. But Coach G, tell them where they can find you at, man.
Oh, man. Well, I changed my Twitter name answer. What's it? Coach Huggins Jr. There we go. Coach
okay, I'll look it up real quick.
Yeah. Coach Huggins Jr. on Twitter and Instagram. You can also follow us on Draft HBCU. It's for Draft HBCU players. Just to let everybody know, we collaborated with the Shrine Bowl to help bring more awareness to players from D2. And
Congrats
D1
on that. Congrats on that.
Thank you, man. So, just keep following us. Keep showing out. Keep doing what y'all do. Keep supporting. It takes us all to bring these guys to the level that they deserve to be at. So, thank you and much love to y'all.
Yeah, man, you doing it out there for real. I wouldn't be bringing him on here if he wasn't putting out content. I got mad friends in the industry. I don't just bring them on. Y'all got to know what y'all talking about. And this guy is definitely one of the best out and an expert when it came to defensive line play. Now, I appreciate you for making us your first listen of the day. Every day tomorrow, we're on to our game of the week, and that's Alcorn versus Southern. That's another one that should be a doozy. Now, for your second listen of the day, make sure you're checking out our conference shows. Locked on ACC with a friend of the show, Candace Cooper. Locked on SEC, Locked on Pac-12, Big 12, and Sun Belt. But always remember to come back to us for your first listen of the day at Locked on HBCU. Now, in the meantime, in between time, if you're looking for me, you can find me on Twitter at South Exclusives. Until the next time that we hear each other, family, take care, stay blessed. Peace.